Well, hello again there, modelers. Well, this week I've been working on my workbench. I've got the Atomic City Models Klingon Battle Cruiser studio scale ready to go. I realized right away that it's a pretty large model to work on, so I had to do some work out in my bench area out in the garage to get ready to work on that thing. So I've been just kind of clearing that up and adding some new equipment that I've got to kind of make my work area a little bit nicer. Been looking forward to doing that for a while. So probably by the weekend I'll be ready to get started on the cruiser. In the meantime, I had a couple of little things that I wanted to go back and do, and this Constellation model that I did a few months ago was one of them. I just thought I'd give you guys another shot of this. One of my YouTube friends, Jay Claddick, he's another model builder that posts a lot of great videos out there. He's recently done a whole series on the 18-inch original AMT long box Enterprise model kit that he built up as an exact replica of the Constellation from the episode The Doomsday Machine. He did an outstanding job of the replication of that model. If you guys get a chance, go and check that video out. He's got a whole series on the build-up. Turned out really nice, yeah, he really stuck to the details and copied it exactly as it was seen on the screen. So kudos to you on that one, Jay. Great job. My version of the Constellation, when I started out doing it, I wanted to take some of the cues from the studio model and then kind of use my imagination a little bit and kind of add some extra things. Just kind of what I thought of, okay, what would happen when a warp engine blew up, you know. And the Doomsday Machine was obviously a very, very powerful weapon, and it packed a heck of a punch. And my feeling on that was when it eventually broke through the Constellation screens and she started taking direct hits, that some pretty serious carnage would start going on. So again, I kind of went back and I changed some of the detailing out. If you guys remember, on the front of this nacelle, I originally had kind of part of the Bussard collector with the little spike thing hanging out there, and after looking at some of the pictures of the Constellation model again, I decided that was not really shouldn't quite be there, and it really wouldn't be there with a powerful explosion going off there toward the front. It would be a miracle if that thing would hang on. I imagine it wasn't as strong as the rest of that structure. So I took that out of there, and I kind of went to work and made some kind of inner warp mechanism stuff there. I'm not sure how good you can see that in the light. I've got some stuff, kind of debris hanging out of there, and quite a bit of damage on the nacelle itself. You can see on the bottom side here, it's kind of peeled open a little bit, and back here towards the rear, I actually had the nacelle cap on there to begin with. I took that off, and now I've gone in and kind of fabricated a kind of a nice little damaged inner frame structure that's in there, if you can see that. Kind of tried to give it the effect of being kind of all heated and twisted and burned and blown apart, and so that kind of made that look kind of nice and really get a sense of the damage on the nacelle. Now I also opened up this little area here where you can see some of the conduit running up to the warp drive. And I toned down, I had quite a bit of blackening going on the secondary hull there, and I toned all that down as well. Took some of that out and toned down some of my overall size of my burn marks. Now Jay did a fantastic job using chalk on his model, creating these burn marks here, and I basically just did these with an airbrush. It wasn't the smallest tip I have for my airbrush either. I could have made them look a little finer, but overall I got the effect I was looking for. As you can see, they kind of extend away from the damage there and kind of burn themselves up along the hull. And there was one in particular in the shot that I always thought looked cool that extended up into the lettering here a little bit, so I tried to capture that. And as Spock says in the episode, the entire bridge was damaged and uninhabitable. That's why when they found Commodore Decker, he was down in the secondary hull in the auxiliary control room area. The saucer was basically almost uninhabitable, I imagine, with taking all this damage. So this is kind of my interpretation of that. It's been breached. There's a hole in it, a couple of spots. Not a very pleasant place to be right about now. And I went in and did some of the inner hull damage here, and I've got representing decking and twisted wreckage and things like that kind of hanging out here. And same thing around the back of the hull here in these two areas, just to kind of simulate what it would look like if these engines blew out and the debris kind of flew forward. And kind of a similar thing here on the port side engine. Just some stuff inside there. Try to use your imagination a little bit on that. Down here on the secondary hull, or on the bottom of the saucer, you can see I've got the some of the details done there, the windows and some of the markings and things like that I didn't have on there before. And on this one, I showed this before, but I lit it up. I've got tried to simulate in here inside these damaged areas of kind of molten steel and maybe some small fires that were still going on. after the ship was attacked. And what I wound up doing to create that is I did all my work in there, and I had these kind of gaps going on. I have two LEDs, two orange LEDs that are placed in there, just about in the center, facing forward, and one facing forward and one facing up. And I actually mixed together some. I took some regular Testors model glue and just poured it into a little cup and mixed in some transparent orange paint with that, and just used a kind of a syringe, and I just put it in these little cracks in here and let it kind of ooze in there, rather than trying to brush it over the top or anything. So I wanted to give the effect that it was kind of sunk in there a little bit. I think it came out pretty good. And the lights being down, I'll kind of show you that real quick here. It lights up really nice, and it almost looks like some kind of molten steel or something going on there. And I've got the same effect over here on the side of the probably getting too close, on the side of the bridge there, if you can see that. You kill this other light here and you'll get a little bit better view of that. And I've got some going on here at the back. So yeah, and there's the auxiliary control room where they found Decker. I figured it'd be kind of neat just to have those little lights there on all by themselves. The rest of the ship basically powered down. And it's just a different interpretation on it. Like I said, I really have a lot of admiration for the guys who do the exact replicas, and it takes a lot of work to capture all that. You don't have much freedom. So again, outstanding job on that one to Jay on that build. Another thing I wanted to show you here is our Enterprise C. Unfortunately, just after I filmed the final build video of this thing to show you what it looked like, I had this red nav light down here fail on me, and I wound up having to take the entire saucer back apart to fix that. It's kind of a strange thing, because I had this entire wire harness with all these bulbs running for probably a good couple of days before I put it together, and I'm not quite sure where that bulb decided to give out, but it did. And anyway, so it kind of worked out for the best anyway. Since then, I've gone back in and I've added an extra kind of a bow light here, if you can see that in the video, and actually filed these LEDs down just a little bit more with a file to get them a little bit more flush and not sticking up on the saucer, to kind of make them more realistic. And I added one more bulb to the saucer itself on the inside for the lighting, and I'm getting much more even lighting on the saucer now. Good light distribution there, and I've also got some good stuff going on here on the bottom. It's picking that up quite a bit more, so I'm pretty happy with that. Rearranged and changed the deflector lighting around just a little bit too, to get a little bit more even lighting in that, and the side windows here. And I think it actually helped out light this impulse area up a little bit more as well. So yeah, that's one of the things that can happen with models. All the planning, all the preparation, something can go wrong. You just got to fight your way through it. Don't get discouraged. It happens to everybody. The pros out there that are building these fantastic, several $1,000 models, I guarantee you, you might not see all the mistakes all the time, but they do happen. You can't predict what electronics is going to do. Sometimes it just fails, and if you've built it yourself, it's not too hard to remember what you did and go back and take it apart and just take your time. I did have to do a little bit, redo my work on the bottom of there of the saucer a little bit to kind of touch it back up, but it doesn't show at all. It came out pretty good. So pretty happy with all that, but one of those setbacks. So I just thought I'd give you a little update here. Again, in about a week, I'll have have my workbench all set up and ready to go, and we'll be rocking on the Atomic City kit. I can't wait to do that one. That is going to be great. I'm just kind of already plotting around here where I'm going to stick this thing. I'm hoping I can squeeze it in, move these two here, and squeeze it in right up next to the studio scale Enterprise. That'd be a pretty slick looking display. But I don't believe I'm going to light the battle cruiser either. I think I'm just going to build it as is and just really try to focus on doing a really nice paint job on it and getting it really smooth and working hard on those seams. So anyways, appreciate all the comments especially about the C. Continues to be I'm looking around YouTube. It looks like a lot of guys are building these, both the Cadet series and this one, so I'm really happy to see that. I've got a couple comments about people saying that they've actually started building again because of some of these videos, so that's exactly what I'm after. I hope you guys do that. Nice to see you guys out there building your own models, and so we'll see you in about a week. Until then, everybody, happy modeling.